The pharmaceutical industry, with its life-saving medications and groundbreaking research, stands as a beacon of hope for millions around the world. But behind the scenes, some big pharmaceutical companies have been accused of employing controversial and illegal tactics that threaten the very foundations of healthcare. Today, we delve into the dark side of this industry, uncovering the illicit practices of these pharmaceutical giants. In our journey, we will shine a light on the alleged tactics that have sparked public outrage and ignited fierce debates. From price gouging to patent manipulation, anti-competitive practices to unlawful promotion, the pharmaceutical landscape is rife with allegations of misconduct. We will explore each chapter, peeling back the layers to expose the truth. In the realm of pharmaceuticals, the high cost of medications is no secret. However, there are instances where the line between fair pricing and profiteering becomes blurred. Enter the realm of price gouging, a practice that has left patients and healthcare systems reeling. Some pharmaceutical companies have faced severe criticism for their alleged acts of drastically increasing the prices of essential drugs without any justifiable reason. This unscrupulous tactic, known as price gouging, pushes life-saving medications beyond the reach of those who need them most. One of the most notorious cases that sent shockwaves throughout the industry and beyond was that of Martin Shkreli's Turing Pharmaceuticals. In 2015, overnight, the price of the life-saving drug Daraprim skyrocketed from a modest $13.50 per pill to an exorbitant $750. The drastic price increase left patients, healthcare providers, and even lawmakers dumbfounded. Suddenly, a medication vital for treating parasitic infections, particularly in vulnerable populations such as HIV/AIDS patients, became a luxury only a few could afford. The repercussions of price gouging are far-reaching. Patients who rely on these medications for their survival face the daunting task of choosing between paying exorbitant prices or compromising their health. Healthcare systems strain under the burden of inflated costs, often leading to reduced access to medications or compromised care for those in need. The public outcry that followed the Daraprim price hike was unprecedented, shedding light on the ethical implications of price gouging. It ignited a nationwide debate on the need for regulatory measures to curb such practices and protect the well-being of patients. While Daraprim's case may have garnered significant attention, it is important to acknowledge that price gouging extends beyond a single medication or company. It represents a larger systemic issue within the pharmaceutical industry, where the pursuit of profit sometimes takes precedence over the well-being of patients. Price gouging stands as a stark reminder of the need for transparency and accountability in drug pricing. The impact of exorbitant costs reverberates throughout society, leaving a trail of financial strain and compromised healthcare in its wake. As we delve deeper into the dark underbelly of the pharmaceutical industry, it becomes apparent that price gouging is merely the tip of the iceberg. Join us as we uncover more alleged illegal tactics employed by these pharmaceutical giants in our quest for truth and reform. Evergreening is a strategy employed by pharmaceutical companies that has raised concerns and sparked criticism within the industry. This practice involves making minor modifications to an existing drug and subsequently repatenting it, effectively extending the company's exclusive rights and impeding the entry of more affordable generic versions into the market. By engaging in this practice, pharmaceutical giants can maintain their monopoly over a particular medication, preventing competition and keeping prices artificially high. This strategy has come under scrutiny for its negative impact on patient access to affordable medication. The process typically involves making slight alterations to a drug's formulation or delivery method, often with minimal therapeutic benefits. These modifications are primarily made to create the impression of innovation and secure an extended period of exclusivity, even after the original patent expires. The lack of competition from generic alternatives hampers market dynamics and limits patient choice. With no affordable alternatives available, individuals may find themselves dependent on expensive brand-name drugs, placing a strain on their financial resources and potentially compromising their ability to adhere to necessary treatment regimens. Critics argue that evergreening contributes to the rising costs of healthcare, as the absence of generic competition allows pharmaceutical companies to maintain inflated prices for extended periods. This situation not only impacts individual patients, but also burdens healthcare systems grappling with mounting expenses. The practice of patent manipulation raises questions about the true intent of some pharmaceutical companies. While innovation and research are crucial components of the industry's progress, evergreening suggests a focus on prolonging profits rather than genuinely advancing medical treatments and improving patient outcomes. Efforts to address this issue have been made, with some countries implementing regulations to discourage or prevent evergreening practices. However, further steps need to be taken to ensure a fair and competitive pharmaceutical landscape that prioritizes patient access to affordable medication. In the complex landscape of the pharmaceutical industry, allegations of anti-competitive practices have raised concerns about fair market competition and patient access to affordable medication. One such practice that has drawn significant criticism is known as pay for delay. This refers to a strategy employed by certain pharmaceutical companies where they make payments to generic drug manufacturers in exchange for delaying the release of cheaper generic versions of their drugs. By doing so, the brand name companies can maintain their monopoly and delay the entry of more affordable alternatives into the market. The implications of this practice are far-reaching. Patients who could potentially benefit from lower-cost generic medications are left with limited choices, as the delay prolongs the period during which they must rely on more expensive brand-name drugs. This can result in higher healthcare costs for individuals, healthcare systems, and insurers alike. Critics argue that pay-for-delay practices not only hinder fair competition, but also compromise the principles of accessible healthcare. By artificially extending a brand-name company's exclusivity over a particular drug, pay-for-delay stifles the potential cost savings that generic competition can provide. As a result, patients may face financial barriers that impede their ability to obtain necessary medications. Efforts to address these anti-competitive practices have been made in various jurisdictions. Regulatory bodies have scrutinized pay-for-delay agreements, leading to legal action and fines imposed on companies found guilty of engaging in such practices. Nevertheless, the persistence of these tactics highlights the ongoing need for vigilant oversight and enforcement. Promoting a competitive pharmaceutical market is crucial for ensuring that patients have access to affordable medications. By discouraging anti-competitive practices like pay-for-delay, the industry can foster innovation, drive down costs, and empower patients with a wider range of treatment options. Unlawful promotion within the pharmaceutical industry stands as a grave concern, as companies prioritize profits over patient safety, resorting to deceptive practices that put lives at risk. These companies have been fined for shamelessly promoting drugs for off-label uses, effectively misbranding them, and disregarding the established protocols for drug approvals and patient well-being. The act of promoting drugs for off-label uses involves marketing medications for purposes not approved by the FDA and manipulating medical professionals and the public into believing unproven claims about their efficacy. By crossing ethical boundaries, these companies exploit vulnerable patients and the trust placed in healthcare professionals, all in the name of financial gain. The consequences of such unlawful promotion are dire. as patients are subjected to unnecessary prescriptions without solid evidence of the drug's effectiveness or safety for their specific condition. This reckless behavior exposes them to a myriad of potential risks, ranging from ineffectiveness to severe adverse reactions, amplifying the threat to their health and well-being. One glaring example of this disregard for patient safety is the case of GlaxoSmithKline, GSK. In 2012, GSK was forced to pay a staggering $3 billion in fines for its egregious actions. They shamelessly promoted drugs for unapproved uses while conveniently omitting vital drug safety information from their reports to the FDA. This landmark case shed light on the industry's insidious practices and the flagrant disregard some companies have for regulations and patient welfare. Unlawful promotion not only undermines the foundations of the healthcare system, but also erodes trust in the industry as a whole. It is an affront to the medical profession's dedication to evidence-based care and patient well-being. By sidestepping regulatory oversight and exploiting vulnerable patients, these companies perpetuate a culture of deception that threatens public health and undermines the integrity of the pharmaceutical field. Strong and unwavering regulation is crucial in combating these illegal tactics. Regulatory bodies must remain vigilant, imposing severe penalties on companies that engage in such unlawful promotion. The enforcement of strict ethical standards is paramount, ensuring that companies prioritize patient safety over their insatiable pursuit of profits. The pharmaceutical industry has long been plagued by a lack of transparency in drug pricing, creating a pervasive problem that has far-reaching consequences for patients and healthcare systems. Critics argue that this opacity enables pharmaceutical companies to set exorbitant prices without sufficient justification, leaving patients and healthcare providers in the dark and hindering their ability to make informed decisions. The absence of transparency in drug pricing has severe implications. Patients are often faced with the staggering burden of high medication costs, forcing them to make difficult choices between their health and financial stability. This is particularly true for those with chronic illnesses who rely on long-term medication regimens. Moreover, healthcare providers are left grappling with the challenge of balancing patient care with the financial constraints imposed by inflated drug prices. Limited access to pricing information makes it difficult for providers to make informed decisions about prescribing medications that align with their patients' best interests, both in terms of clinical efficacy and affordability. The lack of justification for high drug prices further exacerbates the issue. Pharmaceutical companies often cite research and development costs as the primary reason behind the elevated prices. However, the lack of transparency makes it difficult to assess the accuracy of these claims, leaving room for skepticism and speculation. Critics argue that the current system allows pharmaceutical companies to maximize profits at the expense of patient welfare. The lack of transparency shields companies from accountability and hampers the ability of regulatory bodies to ensure fair pricing practices. The need for transparency in drug pricing is a matter of urgency. Greater visibility into the factors influencing pricing decisions, including production costs, research and development expenses, and profit margins, is essential for fostering a more equitable and sustainable healthcare system. Countries and organizations around the world have recognized the significance of this issue and have initiated efforts to promote pricing transparency. Some jurisdictions have implemented legislation that requires pharmaceutical companies to disclose pricing information, fostering a more informed and accountable marketplace. This unethical behavior by certain pharmaceutical companies has been associated with the alarming issue of overprescription, ultimately compromising patient safety and contributing to public health crises. Aggressive marketing tactics employed by pharmaceutical companies seek to influence healthcare professionals' prescribing behaviors through a variety of means, including direct-to-consumer advertising, sponsored events, and gifts. These tactics create an environment where the focus shifts from evidence-based medicine to profit-driven practices, potentially leading to the overprescription of medications. One notorious case that epitomizes the consequences of overzealous marketing is the story of Purdue Pharma and its aggressive promotion of OxyContin. The company was widely criticized for downplaying the addictive properties of the opioid painkiller, misleading healthcare professionals about its risks, and encouraging the use of the drug for long-term pain management. This relentless marketing campaign by Purdue Pharma played a significant role in fueling the opioid crisis in the United States, leading to widespread addiction and devastating consequences for individuals and communities. Another concerning aspect is the provision of kickbacks to healthcare professionals, where pharmaceutical companies offer financial incentives, gifts, or other benefits in exchange for prescribing their medications. This practice compromises the integrity of medical decision-making and undermines the trust between healthcare providers and their patients. Instead of relying on unbiased clinical judgment, physicians may be swayed by financial incentives, leading to the overprescription of certain drugs that may not be in the best interest of the patient. Patients may be prescribed medications that they do not truly need or that carry unnecessary risks, contributing to adverse health outcomes. Furthermore, these practices contribute to the overall rise in healthcare costs, as unnecessary prescriptions drive up expenses for patients, insurers, and healthcare systems. This egregious behavior involves pharmaceutical companies concealing negative data, publishing misleading results, and neglecting to report adverse effects from clinical trials, ultimately jeopardizing the safety and well-being of patients who rely on these medications. Clinical trials are vital for assessing the safety and efficacy of new drugs before they are approved for public use. However, when crucial information is hidden or manipulated, the integrity of these trials is compromised, undermining the foundation of evidence-based medicine. Pharmaceutical companies have been accused of deliberately withholding negative data obtained from clinical trials, effectively distorting the overall safety and effectiveness profile of a medication. By selectively reporting positive outcomes while suppressing unfavorable results, these companies create a misleading narrative that favors their financial interests over patient safety. In some instances, pharmaceutical companies have even gone as far as publishing misleading or incomplete trial results, misrepresenting the true benefits and risks associated with a medication. Such deceptive practices can misguide healthcare professionals and patients alike, leading to misguided treatment decisions and potential harm. Additionally, the failure to report adverse effects discovered during clinical trials poses a significant threat to patient safety. Adverse effects can range from mild side effects to severe life-threatening reactions. By intentionally neglecting to disclose this critical information, pharmaceutical companies expose patients to potential harm and deny healthcare providers the ability to make fully informed decisions regarding treatment options. It erodes the foundation of evidence-based medicine, undermines public trust in the pharmaceutical industry, and can have far-reaching consequences on public health. When accurate data is concealed or manipulated, it hampers the ability of regulatory bodies to make informed decisions regarding drug approvals and contributes to a lack of transparency within the industry. In the shadowy underbelly of the pharmaceutical industry, we have explored illegal tactics employed by the pharmaceutical giants. From price gouging to patent manipulation, from anti-competitive practices to unlawful promotion, and from opaque pricing to overzealous marketing and kickbacks, the dark side of this industry has been exposed. These revelations remind us of the urgent need for stringent regulation and oversight. We must hold pharmaceutical companies accountable for their actions, demanding transparency, ethical conduct, and a commitment to patient welfare above all else. While not all pharmaceutical companies engage in these illegal tactics, it is crucial to address and rectify the abuses within the industry to ensure that patients have access to affordable medication and receive the highest standard of care.